All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Flow Space. I'm so excited today to welcome back Julie to the podcast. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Thank you for having me again. Hope you're doing well too.
No, thank you so much for coming back. I'm doing well myself, just so super busy, so much going on right now, which I'm sure you can relate to. We're going to get into all the things that you have going on right now, which have been a lot. And then we'll talk about just competitions in general again, do a little follow up from the last episode. You'll let us know how your competition went in Canada. We're so excited to hear about it. And then, yeah, we're just going to chat.
Sounds good.
Yay. All right. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now.
Yeah, so I know you and I have our virtual PSO competition this weekend. So super excited just to honestly have the work done for that already and have the video submitted and just have it all be done. And I just have to sit back and watch the results and see what happens and watch everyone else compete. And I'm so excited about it, honestly. And then just wrapping up things with work, things with work have been so kind of crazy. So trying to pack in, last night I did a content shoot with some of my girlfriends for Christmas and doing that after work and just trying to mix in a little bit of my training still here and there, and obviously keep in spirit with the holiday season. So it's
Mhm.
just been nonstop, even more crazy than the summer was when I started training for competition, which I don't even know how that's even possible. But, your priorities just kind of shift around. But I think I'm more calm when it comes to preparing for this upcoming competition next Sunday, even though like I should be just as equally scared, but we can get into that. But anyways, how has your schedule been?
Yeah, and my schedule's been super busy as well. I have been doing a lot of different things online, kind of launching these different offers, really taking on more of a coaching role, which has been really exciting. But interesting integrating it into like my 9 to 5 that I already
Mhm.
have and just trying to balance that as well as like you were saying stay in the holiday spirit and just like really taking in December. I feel like I blinked and it's almost Christmas, which is crazy. But yeah, it's been a lot, and trying to squeeze in friends and family is always a challenge, and I've been really trying to focus on that. So that's what I've got going on. um
Yeah, definitely.
The virtual competition, we are actually both in together, which is fun. I know you had mentioned that when you were going through your stuff. So this weekend, in the next 2 days, we get to watch the videos. And like you said, it's just a huge relief having that be just something we can sit back and relax and watch. How was your like process recording it, prepping it? Does it feel different to do a virtual competition versus an in-person? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm really happy that you talked me into submitting for it because originally I was my routine wasn't even structured to fit PSO competition. Because uh for those of you out there who are new to competing or haven't touched competitions yet, all competitions that you either apply for or do are structured a little bit differently. So there's different rules in terms of, your application or submitting, and just what you're doing throughout the dance in general. So I know PSO is a little bit more strict in terms of where you're dancing on the stage and how much time you're spending on each pole. And then for the script down, the competition I did in Canada, it's a lot more lenient in terms of what they're looking for judging. So, just kind of tailoring my piece just slightly. I didn't even really change all that much. I think I really just I cut the strings of the hood so that way I didn't have any issues there before officially retiring it. And then I got to do it the way that I initially wanted to do it because when I did the competition in Canada, I actually flipped my routine by accident. So I trained the whole time for certain spin mode and certain static mode. And then I showed up to the day of the competition, and then the poles were flipped from how I've been practicing for the past 2.5 months.
Oh my
So doing virtual was great. However, I did think it was going to be a little bit easier than it ended up being because I just could not for the life of me get like a solid video take. And I know you and I were talking about that. So I thought that I was going to be able to apply like a month in advance for the video being done. And I actually didn't have it done until the day before the deadline. So it took me a month to like have a video I was okay with submitting, and just like leaving it up to the hands of the judges. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. But
No, for sure. It's definitely, I don't know, it's something like you said, you think it's going to be like, all right, like I record things all the time, like this will be so easy. But I feel like just the weight of it still being a competition, it's just
Mhm.
like you want to put your best. It's, I feel like even with a virtual competition, like it's almost like added pressure because it's like you had time to run this through and perfect it. Like you are picking your
Yeah.
best run through. Like at a competition, whatever happens on your time, like that's it's done. But like with this, so I feel like it's even more difficult in that aspect because it's like, well, if I'm presenting this as like a competition piece, like
Mhm.
I feel like it needs to be perfect, which was the roadblock I kept running into. Like I kept wanting to change my piece because I was like, I'm literally submitting this to showcase like what I think is worthy of the
Mhm.
competition worthy. And it's like, is this enough?
Yeah.
So that was definitely interesting.
That's the same feeling that I felt too. And just like, I know we talked about this off camera, but just submitting it and then like wiping your hands clean. And I'm kind of glad we had the deadline that we did because I would have just kept running it and like overkilling it. And there needed to be a moment where you, as like perfectionists, you're just like cut off. It's like, okay, I can't do any more. The deadline is here. It is what it is, and I just have to be okay with that. And I think a lot of dancers feel that way. I think a lot of like artists, perfectionists feel that way. Um, and it really stinks too because it should be fun. Like it should be all about just like the fun of it and getting better and like your own personal side of things. But I know that there are certain competitors that are like super diehard and you know the comparison is definitely there. Um, but what I liked about this competition with PSO virtual, I actually did not look up any of my competitors. I didn't look up any single one of their IG handles like I did for Script Down, which was a big reason why I got so in my head the last time. And I do
Yeah.
feel like that helped me just kind of like stay in my own lane, focus on me, and then I'll just watch the other competitors during the competition, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I definitely wanted this to be more of like a fun experience versus a stressful one because Script Down was definitely way like I took myself way too seriously. But you know, it's a stepping stone. You have to kind of get used. You have to get used to competing and become a competitor if you want to compete. So
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into Script Down if you don't mind.
yeah.
So, when you say you were taking yourself a little bit too seriously as a competitor, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I know I touched on it the last time we spoke on the podcast, but I definitely I was training so hard. Like I don't think I could have done anything more than what I did. I was teaching myself a bunch of new tricks that I've never done before. Don't do that. It's good to have goals, but at the same time, if you set the bar too high and you don't have enough time, um, where like the levels don't really match up, then you kind of get more frustrated along the way when things just keep going wrong. And that's like a part of the learning process. But if you have a certain deadline and you just cannot make it work, you're just going to keep getting more stops than like you need to have. And I feel like, and I was given this advice too, and I didn't listen. But one of my instructors told me, she was like, you want to make sure that when you're competing, you do like maybe one or two hard moves that you don't have yet that are like your goal moves. And I put three initially in my routine that I could not do before I started training. And I gave myself like 2.5 months, 3 months maybe, but my routine realistically probably would have taken 6 to 8 to like get to where I wanted it to be. And it went through a lot of metamorphosis, like just from the 2.5 to 3 months I was training. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a lot to handle. I was doing a lot on myself, like in terms of eating right, which I liked that version of training. I liked, kind of formulating my diet, taking alcohol out. Like, I think I train best when I feel my best physically. So I was also taking all my vitamins and doing all those things to keep myself healthy. And then also going to the sauna once a week or so just to kind of repair. But like I was doing so much of the gym. I think I was going 2 or 3 days a week and then stretching 2 or 3 days a week and then going to pole classes on top of my privates. So I was realistically training like 5, 6 days a week really hard. And it was great. I feel great. I felt great. I was able to do my routine like no sweat. I was like so just physically fit. But mentally, I was just rattling myself because I felt like even though I was doing the most that I could do, I still couldn't keep up with the other competitors. So that's kind of where I felt like I was just doing the most, and I was like, okay, this is getting to be like slightly unhealthy, but that's a part of growth, you kind of like test and find your limits too.
Exactly. And I feel like that's, like we talked about kind of in the last episode, like a competition is so confronting of so many things. Like, again,
Yep.
just the competition in general, but also having to kind of coach yourself through something and see all sides of yourself.
Hmm.
And it's a really, like, I don't know, I feel like it's just a very one of a kind experience. And I feel like if people feel called to it, they should definitely do it because you do learn so much about yourself on that journey and just how you create and how you bring something to life. And I feel like that is such a rewarding
Hmm.
piece of the competition.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I know we can circle back to script down and that whole story, but um yeah, I definitely think that, you know, like you said, try a competition, see how you like it. Don't stray away from it from anything I or anyone else will say. It definitely is a lot to like confront yourself and look in the mirror and be like, okay, I can do this. Um, I think that for me is like one of the biggest takeaways from competing is just, things will go really wrong or things will go really right. And regardless, like you're there on the stage and you have to pull through for yourself. And that's just like kind of the biggest thing I learned at Script Down because everything went wrong. Um, I literally got off stage and I felt like I was gonna puke because I just could. I was so mad, and basically, I got on stage, had my hood on, started my routine. Well, actually, I'll kind of back up. When I got there, I got to pole testing. I think at like 2:30 p.m. and then doors open for the competition around 4. Competition started at 5, and then I didn't go on till like 9 o'clock. But I found out at pole testing that the poles were switched from what I was training for. And for the spin and the static mode, that can be very disorienting if you train it a certain way. Because a lot of your transitions moving from pole to pole or on the floor to the pole depend on like what spin or static routine that you're about to do. So showing up there and learning that, I like touched the pole and I was like, is this supposed to be on spin? And then someone looked at me and they're like, yeah. And so I just had the mental like, oh no, I did all this work and I was so over prepared. And then just in a blink of an eye, everything was changed mentally. So I had a little bit of a mental breakdown. I was just trying to think like, how do I restructure my routine so that way I can, have the pole switched and it not affect me as much. And it didn't affect as much as I thought it would, but like that mentally was getting to me. So I cried about it. I was upset um and it was just something that I knew I could push through. I know everyone that I competed with was so sweet though. Like I had someone come up to me and they were like, "Oh, I've done this with PSO before. Like I got there and the poles were switched. You'll be fine." I said, "Okay, glad to know that you like live to tell the tale and I'm not the only dummy doing this." But
No.
that was like the first oh shit moment. And then we, you know, it happens. I'm getting on stage and I'm like, okay, the poles are switched. I can do this. I kind of figured it out in my head what I'm gonna do. Whatever happens, happens. And then not even like 10 to 15 seconds into my routine, the stuff that I do with my hood, because I had a big reveal, I pull the hood down and I look at the audience and then I take the hood off. Hood gets stuck, immediately comes off the wrong way than I planned for, and everything just starts going wrong. It was like my hood string was stuck on my braid, and then I started a spin combo that I forgot because I was on a flipped pole and my hood got stuck. So it was like many things happening at the same time, but it's all happening in a matter of seconds, and your brain is like, what do I do? I want to stop, but you keep going, and it's just a lot of push and pull and friction, and frustration too, because you can see it like unfolding in the moment in front of your eyes, and you're like, this is not how I wanted any of this to go. But the biggest thing for me was safety, because I, get up into my spin pass. I'm doing the tricks that I have in my combo. I have like 2 climbs I go into. For you pole people out there, I go into my Delegra up high on the pole, and then I don't even know what I go into a reverse shoulder mount, excuse me, and then I like thread through in some fashion. But by the end of that combo, my hood is just circling at the bottom of the pole, and I'm just watching it as I'm spinning very slowly, like wrap more and more and more. And I'm like, how do I get out of this without strangling myself? Because my ponytail is like very long, and then the string of the hood is wrapping, and I'm like, can I just strangle myself this way? Like, am I going to die on this stage in front of all these people? Because I truly did not think in the moment I was going to be able to get the hood off, because I tried several times to shake it loose and it was not coming off. So I just was like, all right. And I tried one last time, and I think it was like the 4th time I tried shaking the hood off, and it finally came off, and then the audience cheered. I was like, okay. Like, everybody saw me get embarrassed. Everyone saw this happening. And I was just so frustrated, but I got it off. I was like, all right, you can keep going. And then, it's not as much of a safety concern anymore. And then I'm just dealing with like how slow the spin pole is moving, because I'm like halfway through my spin combo. So the spin pole stops. I'm in my bird of paradise. I'm just like in the most uncomfortable move, not moving on spin. Like, I'm just stuck there. And I finish out like that combo and transition to the other pole, but my musicality was off. I was moving too fast. I just like lost myself in what was happening, and then I couldn't fix it and recenter myself. So all in all, like, I haven't watched the competition video in a while, and I get the professional video back sometime soon, but not really thrilled to watch the whole thing. And I got off stage and I felt like I was gonna vomit. I cried a whole bunch, and I was really like raw and vulnerable after that, because I had shared so much of my pole journey on social media, and just like told everyone that I knew that I was competing. I was like, I told my coworkers, I told everyone on social media, everyone in my studio knew, like my instructors knew, my whole like everyone that I knew that I had competed. So I was like, well, I can't just say that it went well. Like, I can't lie and just say, oh yeah, that was it. And I think like having the vulnerability to share the story definitely resonated with a lot more people than I thought it would have. But now that I've done that, I'm like, can I do anything? Like, can I just do anything now? Because I went through like that crazy once in a lifetime competition experience, and like just keep going. So I didn't, it didn't kill me. I didn't die. I'm still here, and like, you just have to keep marching forward. As much as you want to like hide away from the world, you just got to kind of jump back up and deal with it and just keep going. So that's been like where I'm at now. It's just like the pushing through, and trying to constantly prove to myself that like I can do it, even though everything went wrong the first time. So
Absolutely. Wow. That is like the most insane story because, like you said, it was just like kind of continuous for you. And
yeah.
then what just gets me is just like you said, watching the hood like wrap around the base of the pole. Like, if you're not a pole dancer, like, I don't think you understand how scary that is because, like Julie had said, like, all of this is happening in like seconds. Like,
Hmm.
the slowest minute of your life, but also like the fastest at the same time. And you like truly only have seconds to make a decision on like what is about to happen.
Hmm.
Um, so so incredibly like lucky, but also grateful that your hood just came off in that moment because
Yeah.
that's
And I
just
was only
crazy.
on stage for like 2 minutes and 44 seconds, I think my song was cut to. So it was like probably in a matter of 30 seconds where that all happened. Like I'll probably go back and watch the video and time it, but it was probably like 15 to 30 seconds where that all happened. And I'm like, in my head, it takes up so much mental space that
Mhm.
I'm like, it could have been a lifetime because that's how embarrassing it was. You know, everyone and their mom. Sorry, this is Polo. Um,
Hello.
was looking at this happening, and I couldn't walk away from it. Like I had girls coming up to me in the bathroom, which they were so sweet. Like other people that competed, and they were like, I saw where you were going with that routine. Like it was beautiful. I understand what you were trying to do and the concept was there, but it just fell up, like I just had so much comfort, which was so nice because I didn't know anyone. Like I competed against all strangers, didn't know anyone before I got there. And just the amount of people that came up to me and comforted me, I was like, wow, this is why I love the pole community so much because you can completely bomb a routine and embarrass yourself in front of everyone, and you'll still have people that are like, I want to connect with you and I respect you and just all those things. So even though I felt like I lost my dignity, I feel like I gained some just by like sharing that with other people and like experiencing that.
Yeah. No, and it is so hard to I think that is the challenging part of social media and like really being vulnerable online because you're opening yourself up to all parts of
Hmm.
your worlds, like to everybody. And not all of it is good, like sometimes you do train for something and then it doesn't happen the way that you wanted it to, or you put so much faith into something and maybe it just didn't take off the way that you thought that it would. But I
Hmm.
think there's so much more value and relatability in seeing somebody be resilient and bounce back or keep going after that. And I think that's where like the true challenge lies with really anything. Things are going to fail and like just not work out the way we plan, but it's our ability to just keep pushing. And like, I think that's what kind of signals to the universe, like, all right, like they're growing. And that's part of the
Hmm.
journey. And that's like the most fun part of life, I feel like, is the journey, like how we get to grow and evolve along the way.
Yep. And a lot of these things were definitely growth without like realizing it, because I do feel like especially in the beginning of my training, I was just forcing all of this growth in my pole journey. I was like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this move, you're going to learn that kip, you're going to be able to do these a million things that you've never done before, and I'm going to force it to happen. And, a lot of it didn't happen, but, the things I walked away from the competition with were my bird of paradise, which I think my lower back is like messed up now, but my bird of paradise, which I am obsessed with. It's been my dream move since I started pole. So being able to say that I have that consistently, a big win for me. And then, the other thing was when I submitted to PSO Virtual, I didn't even realize really that it was going to be a level 4 routine. Like I have an Aisha in there, which I'll be taking out because now the routine is just fully on spin. But I had Maisha in there. I had Bird of Paradise, and then Jalegra, other stuff like that. And some of the transitions were harder. So I, the last time I competed in PSO, I was level 3, and that was a stretch. I bumped myself from level 2 into a level 3 without being ready for it, and I was like, let's compete level 3. That was a goal of mine. But this time I was like, oh, I guess I'm already like level 4. I guess like this is already a routine that would be. So just having that natural growth without necessarily like aiming for it or realizing that I was in a level 4 competition category, I think that was really cool for me to reflect on and be like, hopefully I deserve to be in this level, but I feel like, I've kind of worked my way up in that sense, and I never thought that I would compete level 4. So I think that was a really cool takeaway as well.
I love that. I think That is one of my favorite things about pole dancing because when you're like one of us who just become completely obsessed with it, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it so often out of pure love that like the growth is obviously just bound to happen. But then
Mm-hmm.
when you're faced with a moment where you realize like, oh shit, like I can do the moves that I came into this sport looking to do, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
or like watching other women compete and wishing I could do that. Like I'm at a point right now in my practice where I'm like I watch videos back and I'm like, wow, I remember when I used to scroll on Instagram and like wish that I could move like that. And like now
Mm-hmm.
I can see my movement emulating the things that I used to love so much. And it's I don't know, it's such a gratifying feeling because you work so hard at something. And even though you do love it so much, it doesn't feel like work. Like there's a shit ton of training like being put in, whether it's through pole or the gym or what we're eating,
Hours
like
and hours and
hours.
hours and hours and hours. And some people like pick it up faster than others if you have like a strength training background or a sports background or an acro background. Everyone picks it up slightly different, so the amount of time training is going to vary. But for me, like I had zero arm strength when I started pole, and I tell everybody this who's like afraid to try because I'm like, do you think I had the arm strength to hold myself up on the pole? Absolutely not. Like I did not. And so like you build it up and you grow. Like as you are pushing yourself to do harder things, your body acclimates. And I think that's what kind of scares people from it because automatically they're like, "Oh, I can't pull myself up in a pull up. I will never be able to do this." And it just takes time. And I think a lot of people don't want to think of something being an investment of time and something's going to be difficult, then they're like, oh, I don't want to do it. But when you love something, like you said, the growth kind of just comes naturally with the time and the practice.
Absolutely. I tell people that too all the time because that is such a hang up for people that
Mm-hmm.
like say that they don't want to try because they don't feel like they have the strength. Um, it's just like I don't know. It's just like that old saying, like you don't go to yoga to become what you don't not go to yoga because you're not flexible. You know, like you go there to become more flexible, and it's like the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. This is it's a practice, like,
I'm gonna have to
and
start using that. I like that saying. I'll have to use that.
right.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, yeah, and it truly is a practice. Like you're not going to come to your first class and be able to do all the things that you saw other people doing, but over time, you build the muscle just by the small repetitive action, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like any movement practice, really.
And that reminds me of like kind of what we are saying about the growth happening without you realizing it. I think something that's kind of embedded in me and I really need to work more on this and I'm trying, but just having the appreciation and like the perception that I have come so far and that I have accomplished all these things that I've wished forever I could do and I couldn't even imagine myself doing them and I'm now doing it. For example, Bird of Paradise, like, and I lose sight of like one how cool it is because I see people doing that stuff all the time and I'm like, wow, I could never, and I'm literally doing some of those things. But also just like having the grace for yourself as you're growing and like looking like an idiot trying something new, not getting a move right away, like those are all frustrating things and everybody experiences that. But I think my only gripe, well, I have a couple gripes with social media, but I find myself not even really like wanting to post some of the more raw or like unprofessional videos and things because now I feel like my profile has gone up to the point where I'm just posting all the perfection stuff and it gets worse and worse because I'm just posting more and more perfect stuff, quote unquote, that's like edited or like set up perfectly so I have a nice background or I have a cute outfit on or whatever it is. I don't even post a lot of my normal training videos anymore. And like when I started, that's all I did because I didn't go out and have my stage pole and just shoot outdoors and have a photographer there. Like that's stuff that I worked up towards. But I think it, I really, you really need to check yourself sometimes because I don't even want to post like the real or raw like practice videos. And I think that's where I get so stumped in my training. I'm like, if I look like an idiot doing this, I don't want to post it. And I think that's where the pole like industry is going in terms of social media, and it's so beautiful. Like I love watching everybody's art, but it's almost getting a little toxic too because we want everything to be 100% perfect all the time, and that's even in like our movement, and it is such a raw thing that we're doing, and that's like where the beauty is. So it's kind of like a balance, and I don't want to lose that. I want to be able to like have more forgiveness for myself and like just post, but it's really tough.
No, it is tough for sure. Um, Instagram is just such like a crazy world for me.
Hmm.
But just like how you were saying, having like wanting things to be perfect, like honestly, part of the reason I wanted the studio done so badly was because I wanted the backdrop of my videos to be not like, like so
Hmm.
there's definitely 100% like I feel that, and you want like the nice editing and you want everything, to hit.
Yep.
But at the same time, like I do feel like there is so much when you find your community, and I feel like that's the hard part, right? Because it's
Hmm.
hard to, you don't like just get a community on Instagram. Like it takes the posting and it takes like those viral videos and for people to see who you are. But once you have that community, I do feel like there is so much beauty, like you're saying, in like going back to the training videos and really showing the process versus just the products. But to again to what we were just saying, like there's almost no point in posting that if you don't already have your community, and so it's
Hmm.
like finding that balance. For me, I am a big as almost everyone who follows me knows, I'm a big freestyle flow girl. So for me it's just like about the musicality of the piece, not so much the perfection of like the moves or what I'm doing. Obviously I'm going to post what I feel like really looks good. So I definitely get what you're saying. It's a weird line to kind of walk, because it's like, am I being 100% authentic if I'm not
Hmm.
showing all aspects of the journey? But I do feel like it is still authentic when you're showing your favorite parts of it as well.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, my page kind of turned into like that training video. Like I wanted to have everything just on there for my own sake, just to show my growth. But now I find it more as almost like a business profile kind of thing. So that's really how I'm like I just booked a gig the day before Thanksgiving at a bar or a club that I've never been to before, and it was so much fun. And like I was seen doing another gig a year ago, and this person saw me, had me in mind, and asked me if I was available, and I was like, heck yeah, I am. So it was almost like now I used it as a tool to kind of get myself out there, get myself into shows. Like I feel like people are starting to kind of know who I am now, which is so exciting. That's been my biggest goal. But you also don't want to, and it's fine for like your profile and things to change and your direction to change. That's totally fine too. But kind of what you were saying about like finding your community, because the last thing that I want to do is make my videos so perfect that I end up in the wrong community. And then I'm like, well, I can't even be myself anymore because I've created this perfect little box that I need to fit into and can't allow any error. So I think showing that vulnerable side, and then also like keeping your standards reachable, like attainable, and you don't want to make them impossible for yourself. Like that's what's going to keep your community there. And also like just kind of it'll be the right people. You won't be feeling like you're in a room full of people who don't even recognize you or whatever. But that kind of brings me back to what you were mentioning with freestyle and how we wanted to touch on with the competition, how you went in with a freestyle piece and then I went in with my choreographed piece, and I'm interested to kind of mention I guess the differences with that, because I'm very interested to learn with your training style and how you kind of do things.
Yeah, of course. So that was definitely not the plan going into it. I wanted to choreograph a piece and to just have time to run it through and really perfect it. And I had started it and I got really far with the piece. Um, I think it was like a 3-minute song, and I had gotten up like 2 minutes and 30 seconds into it. Like, so I was really like almost done. And I just was watching it back and watching it back, and it didn't feel like 100% me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what I was really struggling with. And I think this is really kind of my issue with choreography, is that it feels like me in the moment that I'm creating it. But then like when I'm going back to it and I'm adding certain things and like this and that, like it takes away from like the part of it that feels like my story and my true expression. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that that is why I'm so drawn to freestyle flow. Like I love hearing a song and being able to put a story to it and interpret it in the moment and just let my body move. And so I think I struggle with like a long-term choreo because I it changes day to day. So like for me putting a piece together for that long, it's just like I don't once I don't feel the connection to it anymore, it's just like I don't really care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to do the next thing, which is something I'm actually trying to work on because I feel like there is a lot of beauty in sticking to something and like, seeing it through, but at the same time, like that's just my like there's so many different like hubs within like the pole community. Like you have your tricksters and you have
Mm-hmm.
like your flow girls and like whatever. But for me, like it truly is just dancing from like my intuition. And I feel like that is my most beautiful work. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna submit a freestyle. Like, why not? So I spent a couple weeks like putting the choreography together. And then I was just one day, I was like, I'm just gonna put my phone because you have to have it in like the landscape mode, which is just so annoying. But I was like, I'm just gonna record in landscape mode and I'm gonna freestyle a couple of songs. And I did that 3 times total and just picked my favorite out of each session and then like kind of broke it down that way. And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, I just ended up submitting whichever one just felt the most raw to me and that was my process going into this one.
Yeah, I know I mean, even with my routine, like I was saying before, I was working on it for a few months and even from the get-go, like I had changed it so many times. And that was even with like planned choreo. So I feel like honestly, if you are like a pole artist out there or someone who's doing something to get to an end goal and it doesn't change, like that's great for you. I don't think that's how 99% of everybody operates. I think there's always going to be some changing and some shifting and just like figuring out what works. I think my problem is like I don't know when to stop changing things because I'm a Libra, I am an air sign. I never know when something is enough or when to like ease off of something. So my toxic trait is just always changing something to the last minute because I am not satisfied with it. So and then kind of what you were saying about it being true to you, like all my choreo in my routine is not mine. So like I picked some of the tricks that were in there. I picked, the end goal of what I wanted and like the vibe. But I did work with other instructors on my piece, so none of it was really like me. And I think a goal for myself and what I want to definitely do in the future for like shows, maybe not competitions, is like, keep staying strong to myself. And I feel like I've gotten better with choreography as the time has gone on. But just like really listen to my intuition. And I might even freestyle my next show, which I've never done in a show before. So that I think I might do on the 10th of January, which is my next showcase in Charlotte. So it's like a no filter showcase. And what's the song I'm dancing to? Oh, yeah. I'll keep it a secret. But I picked my song and they gave you a couple options. They're like, okay, list like 1 through 3 songs that you want to do. And the curator of the show actually picked like my third option because the other two just like didn't fit the realm of the show or go along with like the other dancers' songs. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know if I want to dance to the song anymore, but I think I'm gonna just like ride it out and like keep listening to it and just really focus on the musicality of like what drew me to it in the first place. And then I just want to like see what happens, but I don't know if I'm gonna prep too much for that show because I'll be competing on the 22nd of December, and then I have my family vacation up until like the 26th, 27th, and then I get back to work, and then it'll be the show, by the next time I'm looking at it. So I think I'm gonna use this one as like more of a freestyle. I'm excited. We'll see what
I
happens. I'll keep you
love
posted.
that.
But
Yes, you will have to. I love that so much. For my freestyle kind of practice, I what I do now, because I'm so familiar with how to like to go about it, I usually pick like one or two tricks that I really want to get in there, or like a combo that like I really want to get in there. But then the rest of it, like, and the way it happens is completely organic. Like the rest of it's
Mhm.
completely organic, but like at least having those like one or two moves that you want to hit. And I feel like with the competition that was really important too, because again, like you're going in at a certain level, you want to make sure like you're kind of proving you're worthy of being there. But that's so exciting. I would love to do a freestyle show. I've never done that either, so that would be so fun. I feel like because you can also take in the vibe of the audience at that time too, and like have their energy kind of flowing with yours, which is a pretty cool thing to think about.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if you would be interested, but I did just apply. Shocker. I applied to another show. Um, but now it's like a little bit further away. So I've never been to the Philly area, but I have really close friends that I went to school with who live and reside in Philly. And it's a show with the company I think it's called Studio X, but they have shows and they have like competitions. And one of my friends that I met at the pole camp I did in February, she just competed with them and won. She's phenomenal, but they are doing a show in Philly, and I really liked the venue. Like the venue is just going to be a stage pole. The theme is old Hollywood. I was like, okay, this sounds like a lot of fun. So I just applied to the show today, actually. I took a video last night, and we'll see what happens. But I know they're open to like aerial performers, pole dancers. They want it to be like an interactive, but mostly safe show. So they're not going to have like crazy tricks going on. It's more about like how you're interacting with the audience. And, that'll be more of a challenge for me too, because I don't do that much audience engagement. But I picked my song. I like already picked my concept. So I'll see if I get into that. But you should apply as well if you were thinking about doing
Yeah.
another show. And it gives you an excuse to travel too. So that's in April of next year.
Okay.
In Philly. Yep. But the auditions I think are due like this, I think January 13th or around there or something. So you have a little bit of time to get an application in if you wanted.
Yeah, definitely send that over because I am actually not too far from Philly, so that would
Oh,
be really
I
cool for
will.
me.
I will. We have a little reunion.
Yes, I hope so. That'd actually be so fun. I would love to do that.
I'll send you the deets so you can apply.
How cute. Oh my God, amazing. You always find this stuff. I need to like put myself out there a little bit more because I never find like competitions or shows or anything.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because I think doing so many shows in Charlotte now, I'm kind of like, okay, I've tested the waters of my small pond. What else can I do out there? Because now I'm like, I want more always. And I just like to continue to have a roster of shows because I think it just is only going to make you grow more as a dancer, but also like get your name out there. And it's also fun to like get all dolled up, have something to plan for. Like, I need to have something to work towards versus aimlessly training because I just don't aimlessly train very well. And
Mhm.
yeah, so actually, a couple of my girlfriends that I met at the pole camp I was telling you about. So there's Ash and Lexi, and we have now been sending each other performance opportunities that we see on Instagram. So
I love
whether it's a showcase or a competition, we'll normally send it in each other's direction, and it's like global. So um, Ash is going to be doing, I think, a UK competition or is looking to do a UK comp next year, and then we just do like we send each other pole retreats and stuff. So we always
that.
just try to like keep it on each other's radar just in case we can meet up for a performance or send each other a show that the other person might be interested in. So I really like that little group chat we have going on. So I'll definitely have to send some things your way in the future too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that so much. And again, that's just the power of community. And that's why I love
Yep.
the pole community so much because we're all like I feel like if you're a pole dancer, like a fellow pole dancer, I know you're a down bitch. So like I'm gonna send you all the good stuff and I'm gonna support you and uplift you because like we're the same, obviously. We're
Hmm.
related at this point.
Yep. 100%. And it's so fun too because like I mentioned before, just having something to work towards, and then, I can use my PTO. Thank God. I'm like, it actually works out really well because I can travel with my job for the most part. I'm just in the office on Wednesdays, so as long as I'm like within the US and working the normal time zone, I could travel, which I normally just like take the dates off and just grind and work at home. But just having that flexibility, and then also being able to have some dates off where I can like prioritize travel and go to the shows and do that, like that's really been working for me. And kind of working it into a part of my life. Like my manager, actually, she knows about my competitions and things. So I was just telling her today actually about the virtual competition we have on Sunday, and then next weekend, and she's like, "You're gonna do great," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're just gonna not think about script down at all." But all of them, kind of all of my coworkers at least, a lot of them, keep in touch with me on my socials and kind of see how my pole journey has gone. And like, I'm very open it with the people I work with. So I think I'm very lucky in that aspect because not a
Yeah.
lot of jobs would let you, talk about such a thing. But I've been with my company for over 3 years. So it's like, now I feel like I'm getting to the point where it can kind of just like fit into my life and what I want to work towards, and wherever it takes me next. But I didn't mean to ramble, but whatever you have next on your agenda that you'd like to talk about, we can definitely talk about.
No, no worries at all. No, I think we're pretty good to wrap up soon, unless you had any other notes. I think we kind of touched upon everything we said we would.
Have we talked about like goals for next year, like poll
We
goals?
have not.
We should,
What are your
yeah.
goal goals for next year? I'm interested.
I haven't really sat down to think about it. I'm just thinking about it right now, but I I think I might have told you this, but I turned 26 in October, and that was really not a wake up call for me, but it was just, my cats are playing with their ball over there.
That's
It was
okay.
really just a moment where I woke up and I was like, wow, okay, like I have to stop playing small. I have to do like any and every opportunity because like what the heck am I waiting for? And I kept thinking like, if I got to a certain level, I would feel more ready to do something or able to take on more. And it's like, no, like screw that. You just have to literally put yourself into the shoes of like the life that you want to live. And that's how you're going to live your dream life. So, I am literally trying to say yes to every opportunity that I see, obviously within reason. But anything that I think about wanting to do or that excites me, I'm going to do it. And so once I turned 26, I like signed up for that one show and this other competition that I'm doing next Sunday that I'm not even ready for. But I'm like, what else am I waiting for? Like soon I'm going to be in my late 30s and I might not have the same freedom to pursue pole in this way and travel and do all the shows. So it's like, what would I be waiting for? What else? What point am I going to reach where I'm good enough to be able to do all of these things? The time is now. So I think for next year, I'm just focused on doing as much opportunity, even if it scares the poop out of me. Um, just doing everything, and maybe not making it so perfect, I think is going to be one of my big goals, because nothing is. So just like doing things that I'm proud of, even if they went wrong, I think that's going to be a big level up for me. But what about you? What about your classes and I know you're doing a lot of instruction online, and that is also a really cool route that I would love to get into. I see everyone who is able to girl boss and just get it done, and like you have like the craziest time management skills because like you said, you work the 9 to 5, the 9 to 5, and then you're working with other people, coaching other people, and that takes a lot of time up out of your day too.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I literally have a million jobs just because even within like doing all the online stuff, like I'm literally my own marketing person, I'm my own videographer, I'm my own photographer. Like there's so many things happening, but
Yeah.
it's so fun. We talk about like the learning journey of pole all the time. The learning journey of like content creation and having an online brand is like that's confronting too. Like it's crazy. But I've been so enjoying it and I can't wait to see like how big it gets next year. I feel like I'm really creating a special space and that is really has been my goal for a long time. Like for me, pole and healing are the same. Like they're
Mhm.
interchangeable. And to be able to bring that to other women and even just in the realm of sensual dance, like for people that maybe don't have a pole, but like this is such a huge way to reclaim your power and your story and like really uncover who you are. And I think every person deserves that, but you know, I'm here for the girls. So I'd love to work with the women and just have them really reclaim their power again. And that's been so beautiful. So I'm hoping to have more containers next year. Working on online courses and like more like coaching, like one-to-one coaching things. I also would love to do more like in person since I feel like I've been working so much more with the online and the coaching.
Mhm.
I would love to do some more stuff for me next year, like as far as the shows and like the competitions, because I don't know, when you're doing all of the healing stuff for other people, when you're doing it for yourself, I feel like it feels like kind of the same. But then having like like prepping for the competition was so therapeutic to me, even though it wasn't the way I thought it was gonna go, because it was like, no, this is my time. Like I'm focusing on creating this for me, like not for anybody else. Like this is just what I'm putting out into the world. And that was so healing. So I think to have a little bit more of that next year is definitely something that I would love. And I do want to have it's been a goal for like 3 years now, but I am really trying to lean into being more balanced with my freestyle flow sessions and like actually training. And I noticed like very recently, like I haven't been doing the flexibility the way that I used to and like all of
Mhm.
that. Just I have so much going on. Like I give myself grace, but like I can definitely feel it in my practice right now. So just coming back to basics a little bit and like going from there as well.
Yeah. Do you think you'll do an in-person competition next year? Is that one of your goals?
It is one of my goals, and I feel like I've said it the past 2 years and I haven't done it. So it's like a little embarrassing.
I'll hold you to that if you want. I'll be your accountability buddy. I got you.
Sweet. Yeah, no, because I feel like I need to just rip the band-aid off and do it. And I really came so close this year, but the one that I was really looking to do was so close to the wedding, and then the other
Mhm.
one was so close to my bachelorette, and I was like, I maybe this just wasn't the year because there was so much going on. But this 2025, it's happening 100%.
Yeah, and if there's any shows in Charlotte you want to do, you should let me know too. Or if you would be interested, I can send you any shows that I see in Charlotte because you can always stay with me. We do have an
Yeah, I
extra
would love
couch. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just like 2025 is not going to be the year to play small. So really excited to see, just how much we are able to go above and beyond. And I would love to see you do a podcast that's about like, how you're kind of running a pole business online, like how you're structuring that, what the ins and outs are like. There's so much within pole that you can talk about. So I love me a good podcast. So I'm always here for any of the different topics. But yeah, I mean, like I'm so excited to wrap up this year. Once my competition next Sunday is done, I'm like, I know I have 2 weeks until like the following show that I'm doing, but I'm gonna like take the week of Christmas and just relax, enjoy the time with my family, like not think about training at all. Eat whatever I want and just focus on refueling for the year ahead because if you don't like stop and really treat yourself and take care of yourself, like your body will slow down. That's where you get injured. And I think I need to nurse myself back up a little bit before I can go really, really hard into 2025. But I don't know if I'll do another in-person comp next year. We'll see. I've been a little delulu for the end of the year, like from November to December. It's just been absolutely insane with the three competitions. I'm like, why did I do this to myself? And my instructor, she was like, when are you resting? When are we resting for this? Because she's been training me basically from like September to now. And she's like, okay, and then we rest when you're done with this, like, and then you're done. And she competes a lot too. So I was really surprised that she said that to me. Like she literally does like almost every PSO competition that's local. Like she'll do the Cary one, DC. If there's one in, she did nationals like Orlando. So that's like 3 or 4 competitions in
Yeah.
a year. And I'm like, you're telling me to slow down? I feel like I'm not even. So it's just funny because I think to other people, you know, everybody's bandwidth for juggling things is a little bit different. And
Absolutely.
I'm just a limits pusher, I guess. I always just do things until I just can't anymore. And, it's not the best, but I think that's like how you get stuff done. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to do a podcast episode on that. I think I would love for this podcast to like really also get like more nitty-gritty into like the pole life too. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to have more episodes about pole specifically in 2025. Um, and I'm excited to find like my voice and my own authenticity as a coach as well, because like we were talking about social media before, like it is a beast sometimes, and it's so easy to like get wrapped up in what's working for other people
Mhm.
and want to kind of show up as that. But I've been having a really fun time, like I said, finding my voice and my flow and like how I want to impact this space. And yeah, just looking to like really amplify that in 2025. And like you said, like I just want to like get my name out there and have
Mhm.
people know who I am and what I do. And the way to do that is to just be big, to take up space. So
Taking
that's what
action and
fun.
taking up space. Yes, amen.
Yes.
Amen. And I feel like you already have a voice, you just don't realize it. Like especially when I see your content come through, I'm like, this is Cassie's. I know this is Cassie's, just like
Oh.
from, just the way that you present your stuff. So like you already have your branding on point, like you already have that. So like again, it's just about taking action and just like following through and like starting while something is still growing is like the only way you're going to get anywhere because y- nothing's ever going to be perfect to start. Like you have to just start somewhere. And I could just say that with my chest because not, no one, I think the thing that separates like artists from people who might not be that artistic or creative, like a lot of people just sit back and watch and they're like, wow, this is so cool. I'm just like observing you do this thing with your life. And like, then there are the people that take action, and that's what kind of separates us. And like, I want to be involved with like the movers and shakers and the people that are actually taking action to accomplish their dream and actually like put their foot out into the world. So I think you're doing amazingly. So just lean into that and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. And I completely agree with everything you're saying. Like, I think that was really what 2024 is about for me, like just starting, like just
Hmm.
doing it. And then like 2025, like we're blowing it up. But you
Yep.
have also been doing all of the things. I know like maybe social media is a gray area still for you, but watching you become more vulnerable on social media and share your journey and like really talk about what you're doing has been so amazing. It's so amazing to see other people's journey, like, and what stands out to them and what makes it important. And I feel like that's what intrigues me. Like when you're talking, like I can tell it's something you're so passionate about and you're so clear on your why, and it's fun to watch you. So thank you for
Oh, I
being
love
you.
that. Yeah, I have like all things passion and movement on my bio because I had to, you can't put that much pull on there, but I feel like that's like the number one thing that I get is everyone's like you're just passionate and you don't give up, and I'm like that's I really like those qualities, and so I'm happy that other people receive that about me because it is true. And I think without passion we have nothing. So
Absolutely.
that's like like let that be what drives you. If you have passion, then you have everything. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna say that again because I love that so much. If you have passion, you have everything, and that is beautiful. I love that. And I think that is what we will end tonight's episode on.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Well, there's a plug. Go follow Cassie on Instagram if you aren't already. And then if you aren't, follow me on Instagram. It's
Yes.
Julie.ehm. But that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, like Cassie said, and I think in the last one that we spoke on, but we're always here as a resource. So if there's anything in the pole community that you can think of that you need, we've done and seen it all by now. We're pretty tenured in this. So reach out. We love to make new pole friends. And, maybe one of these days we can do one of those like collective retreats together, and you can even like lead
Yes.
a retreat workshop or something. And we can do a whole, I don't know what I can contribute, but I'll be there.
No, I love it. You have so much to contribute. And that is like one of the things that's on like my top goal list. So I love that you said that.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh, are we manifesting that?
we're
Because,
manifesting.
yeah, if we ever did a retreat, I have a camera and I can figure out how to post people. So we could do like a content and healing
Yeah,
retreat. I think that would be really fun.
that would be fun. Look at you heard it here first. So just
Sneak
keep your ear
peek.
out for that date because it's happening now.
Oh my gosh, no, that would be so fun. I think we're planners and we're movers and shakers and always
Exactly.
looking to do the next thing. But thank you so much for having me. And I know you have a busy night, so I hope you can have a wonderful weekend and happy holidays, everybody. But
Yes.
I'm so excited to do this again soon.
Of course. Thank you so much for being on the show again and giving us a follow up. And just as always, gracing us with your positive mindset. And just, you are just so motivational in the sense that, like, you truly do emulate that keep going. And that is why I love bringing you back on here. So, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Happy holidays. And I know we'll talk so soon. So, I
Yeah, no,
will,
perfect.
yeah, I'll see you then.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.